Fighting on week 8 of Dana White's Contender Series, September 26th. Please welcome the man himself, Angel Pacheco. Angel, my man, great to talk to you. Great to meet you. How you feeling? Like 2 weeks out?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel confident. I've been able to enjoy training out here in New Hampshire with the cartel. Uh, my manager's Tyson Chaurier. Pretty sure that's how you pronounce his last name. But so I'm staying at his house right now. My last 3 weeks I've been out here and just grinding with all these guys.
And we'll get into camp in a second because, yeah, I saw on Instagram you're training with the big boys up at Cartel. But before that, when you got that call, where were you and what was your like immediate reaction?
Actually, pretty funny. I was at this house.
Oh, yeah.
I was here helping Rob get ready for his fight. He originally was supposed to fight a Chinese kid,
Song Yadong.
Yang Dong. Yep, yep. He was supposed to fight him. He's a little bit more of a boxing heavy style. I had previously came up here to help Rob with Yanez, I believe
Adrian
is his
Yanez,
last
yeah.
name. Yep, Adrian Yanez. So I had come up here for that to help him train or spar and stuff like that, give him looks. And I was sitting on the couch actually downstairs. It was in between practices, and I'm sitting there. My wife was out here with me at the time, and my kid. And he looks at his email. He's like, "Hey, Angel," and he comes over to me and shows me his phone. And I'm looking at it, I'm reading it. I get all excited, like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was out here a couple months ago. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. And I guess one of my big questions off the bat is we haven't seen you fight since CFFC 112, dude. That's been
Yeah.
over a year ago,
Yeah, it's
and
been a year.
you had a canceled bout in between. So I guess why the time off? What have you been up to?
The so I had a scheduled bout in my home state of Minnesota for a local title, but I ended up picking up a knee injury,
Mm,
and I didn't think it was too bad at first. It like pop and stuff, and uh, I just kind of trained through it. I was like, I'll be okay, kind of thing,
yeah,
because I could still run and I could still do everything pretty much. It was just grappling was being it was a tough ask, I guess, in
yeah.
certain situations. Um, I ended up sparring, doing like MMA sparring, and somebody had took my back, and I tried to escape and it popped like completely. And after that, I could not like walk even. And I was like, oh, this is different because it would pop and then it like pop again and be normal.
Sure.
And this time it, it wasn't normal. So I
Oh,
couldn't walk pretty much. And then that kind of made me pull out of the fight because the way I see it is if I can't properly prepare, I won't have the confidence to fight, you know?
sure.
Um, so I ended up pulling out of that fight. And that was a little bit of a longer recovery than I thought it was going to be. It was like a I can't remember like the medical term is like bucket tear or something like that. Bucket. I can't remember exactly, but it was
I
just
don't
a
know.
weird tear. Yeah, it was just a weird tear. So I ended up doing PT and things like that. And once I was healthy enough to start training, I started training right away. But I know just you don't want to rush those things. So then I was thinking about fighting like early this year, like maybe like February or March.
Hmm.
And Tyson had already like told me like I think I can get you in contender. Like it's pointless to just take like a short notice fight against like good guys like for CFFC or something like that. Because locally it was getting hard already to find fights for me. So it was gonna be a little bit of a bigger stage like an LFA or a CFFC or a CES. Um, and it was kind of like short notice opportunities that I kept getting. And he's
Yeah.
like, it's kind of pointless to take these fights against good guys if we don't have to. We've already waited this long. I believe I can get you in, and he got me in. So
And now we're here, man. And that
yeah.
that now brings me to camp because I'm curious about where you've been working. I know you're at Start BJJ. I've seen you've been training with New England Cartel. So kind of just break down this camp, where you've been, who you've been training with.
Um, I started off obviously in my hometown, St. Cloud, Minnesota. Uh, Out there is like for obviously Brock Larson's my head coach, and he's a UFC vet, WEC vet, one FC vet. Like he's been everywhere. He's fought in everyone. Fought Carlos Condit. Fought some of the best in the world.
Yeah.
So he's like a wealth of knowledge. Um, as for like training with him, he's a big guy. He kind of just plays with me. So it's like it's hard to get guys my own size. We do have a couple guys that start where they're good fighters and stuff like that. Obviously, they're just not at the same level of like Rob and Calvin and the guys in the cartel. They're
Right.
professional. They're all like, even the guys that aren't in the bigger stages yet are very focused and they know what they want, It's not, there's a lot of young kids that start like early 20s and they're kind of, they take it serious, but their diet doesn't
Sure.
reflect that, or their cardio, they don't do extra, So there are some guys there though, like Tanner Tremblay, and I mean, a lot of these guys are like 1-0 pros, that they're not going to be like known if I just say their names. But um, so I started off camp there, and then I have this relationship with Tyson. Obviously, he's my manager, but also I've helped Rob for two of his camps
Right.
uh, recently, and I just pretty much asked like Brock and Tyson, like, hey, would this work out? Tyson and Brock were 100% good with it. They thought it was a great idea. It's obviously a little bit hard being away from my wife, Jessica, and my daughter, Alessia. That's been the hardest part. Uh, but I truly do believe it'll be worth it because the push I get out here is, it's very, very important, I think. There's the way they can push me is just different.
And then who's going to be in your corner for this fight? Any cartel boys coming?
Sorry, say again?
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Oh, it's gonna be Brock Larson and then Tyson Shorey.
Oh, cool. So Brock's
Yeah.
coming over all the way for the fight.
Yeah, yeah. He actually was out here for a week training with me as well, and just kind of he taught one of the classes and stuff like that. So
Awesome, man. And you're taking on Danny Silva. I believe you guys have identical records. You're both,
yes, we're
yeah,
we're
both
both
seven
seven
and
and
one.
one. Yeah,
So this season's kind of the theme of it's been like high level fights, right? Sometimes in the past it's been like some stud against someone who, maybe they're not quite there yet. This season it's just
yeah.
been studs on studs, and this is another matchup. So, what are your thoughts on Danny? Because this is a great fight.
From what I've watched of him, he's a very good fighter. He seems well-rounded. He obviously we have a similar style even when we fight. We prefer to stand. Uh, he seems to me to be more of like a counter striker, but he's aggressive, so he'll stay in your face and kind of force you to punch at him. He switch hits. He's a good calf kicker. He's a good fighter. I like watching his fights. Like if I wasn't fighting him, I'd be like, yeah, I like watching this guy fight, sort of thing. And even after the fight, it is what it is. We're just fighting for what we want. But yeah, no, I think he's a good fighter. I think stylistically though, I'm better than him on the feet. I think uh he has good things that he can do, but I just need to make sure to not let him do them. Obviously, I don't want to say too much. The fight's soon, uh, but I just think we both are pressure fighters, and I don't know if I've ever seen him get pushed back, I guess is what I'm saying. Also, I don't know if he's ever been in any sort of like adversity in a fight. I truly believe I will put him through some adversity and he's gonna have to dig deep and kind of figure it out on that stage. So we'll see.
And you have 100% finish rate in your career. Is it important to keep that going and find another finish here to impress Dana?
I mean, I honestly think no matter what, a win is gonna get me a contract because just looking at both of our styles, it's impossible for that fight, even if it goes to decision, to be boring.
Sure.
Um, and I don't think he has the ability to, if he does decide to start grappling, to hold me down or make it a boring fight. You know what I'm saying? Um, Honestly, all my finishes and things like that, it was never like I need to finish this guy, I need to finish this guy. It just comes. I'm if you've ever seen me fight, I'm a pretty calm fighter. I take my time, and once I see openings, I go for it, sort of thing.
The only fight I've seen of yours was Cage Fury against Vilson. And
Okay.
yeah, you did exactly that. You were very calm and you found the finish. Um,
Yeah.
So, are you a fan of Contender Series at all? Do you watch the show? Do you know how the layout is and all that?
Yeah, the first like season or whatever, I watched a lot of it. I like those fights were crazy. Obviously,
Yeah,
like a lot of those guys ended up in the UFC, whether whether they won or not. Maybe not that night, but they ended up in the UFC at some point.
sure.
Uh, but yeah, no, I've watched it. I haven't watched it as much lately, just because uh time, I guess. I
Sure.
don't get much time. But I do enjoy the fight and I enjoy the concept. The way I see it, honestly, is this is almost like my first UFC fight, right?
Yeah.
Because this dude is a UFC level fighter. That's why they have us both here. Um, and it's just like, okay, who's gonna fold under pressure, sort of thing. Because all the eyes are on you. The most important eyes, Dana White's on you. So you just gotta go in there and fight how you need to fight.
And you know how the show works. You get the win, you talk to Laura Senko, you go in the back, and then you wait in
Yeah.
anticipation for Dana to make his decision. So if you had the chance before that to talk to Dana and say, "Hey, man, this is why I deserve to be in the UFC," what would your pitch be? What would you tell him?
Um, I just tell him, I'm the ideal fighter. I'm the guy that you want in there. I wouldn't say like a Justin Gaethje necessarily, but I'm trying to stand with everybody. I don't care how good you are. I want to prove that I'm the best at striking, you know. Uh, that's the sort of thing I kind of pride myself in. Minnesota's not very well known for boxing, but we have a lot of good boxers in the state. And my boxing for MMA, I feel like is the like some of the best in the world. So I'm trying to prove that.
When you get your chance to in 2 weeks, my friend. And I guess, do you have any like opponents that you'd like to maybe fight for a potential debut? Anybody of interest in the UFC or kind of whoever they throw at you? What are your thoughts there?
Um, yeah, I guess I would have to sit down and look at like people. I'm not really thinking past Danny too much. That's kind of just the way I approach everything.
Mhm.
In the past, I've done that, and that doesn't work out too well. So, hence my one loss. But yeah, I don't really think of that. I do prefer though to stay active. So, assuming God willing, I have no injuries or anything like that. I would love to turn around and fight again in December. Um, I know like how we spoke about in the beginning, it's been a year since I have fought. And I
Yeah.
don't like that. I come from amateur boxing, so every other week is nice,
Right.
sort of thing. Obviously that'll never happen, but uh, you know, if I could fight again in December, that'd be awesome.
Like maybe get on, what are they talking about December? That's November's MSG, December they're talking about Vegas, and then I heard they're even talking about like Atlantic City coming up or something like that. So
Yeah. I've heard rumors, it's not obviously been clarified, but I've heard rumors of Minnesota. So if I could fight
really,
in my home state, I would love that.
dude, UFC hasn't been to Minnesota since
It's been a
when?
long time. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I know my old teammate fought on it. Maurice Green and
Whew.
Anthony Rocco Martin both fought on
Yeah.
that
Yeah, that must have been
card.
like
So
2016, 27. I don't know, maybe even before that.
yeah, it was a while back.
Oh, that would be
So
cool, man.
I would love to fight there, uh, and be on the actual card in my home state. That'd be great.
Well, Minnesota, Atlantic City, and Toronto. I hear they're all coming soon, early 2024. So we'll see, my man. We'll see. And before I get you out of here, Angel, I want to ask you a random question. I assume you're a fan of the UFC in some capacity. So
Oh yeah.
what what are your thoughts on the nonsense we just saw the other night? Sean Strickland becoming the new middleweight champion of the world.
Um, I actually met Sean Strickland when I went out for the UFC Apex. My buddy trains at Extreme Couture, and I got
Okay.
to meet him. He seems like a nice guy, but yeah, that was a crazy fight.
Yeah, he shocked everyone, dude.
I wasn't expecting that. I honestly did want Sean to win, but I didn't think it would happen that way. I thought if anything, maybe he'd catch a kick, take him down, and get a submission or something. But yeah, it's wild. I don't know. I think honestly though, just from watching Izzy's fights, he tends to constantly like lean away real hard and throw hooks. And the bane of that is, for the most part, is straight punches. And he has a good jab and he has a good
Yeah,
cross. So
that's all he throws.
also being able to catch the wide stuff like this helped him a lot. Uh, but yeah, I don't. I A lot of people are saying Izzy looked, off or whatever the case might be, but I just think it might have been just Sean's abilities. They say styles make fights, and that's a perfect example right there.
And I've been doing Muay Thai classes for like I guess a half a year now. Shout out Dan O'Neill, Droogs MMA. But literally last week we were learning high posts, like leading with a high
Yeah,
post and
yeah,
having to be on the outside and above your opponent. That's all Strickland did, and I was like, "Holy
yeah.
shit, we literally just
It's
learned that. That's
wild.
crazy!" And it won him a belt. So
Yeah,
props, Sean Strickland. That was a great fight. Angel, before I get you out of here, man, I just want to give you the opportunity. You're going to be on ESPN Plus, Dana White Contender Series, like you said, your first UFC fight, essentially. So, is there anything you would like to say to all your fans and everybody watching this interview? If so, take it away. The mic is yours.
yeah, absolutely. Of course, I always want to thank my team, Start BJJ, Brock Larson, our head coach, Tyson, for letting me stay out here at his house and be around his family and things like that. The entire cartel team, you guys are awesome. You push me every day. It's been a blast training with you guys. I can't wait to do more of it down the future. Um, my wife at home, she has a full-time job. She watches the kid. She's home alone right now doing everything. I appreciate that sacrifice she gives for me. My parents have always supported me, and my team has always supported me. So I just appreciate everyone and anyone that's ever sponsored me in the past as well, businesses and things like that. I love you all, and I'm gonna just work my hardest out here so I can get that W in the cage.
Love it, my man. Very excited for September 26th. Everybody watching, you should be too. Angel Pacheco looks to punch his ticket to the UFC on Dana White Contender Series Week 8, ESPN Plus. Angel, give me that flex for the thumbnail, and I'll get you out of here. Yes, sir. Kick ass, man. Very excited. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.